Today we're going plant shopping. The first place that we're going is Renovation Jungle, which is one of my favorite plant shops in Des Moines. The plants are so healthy, they have a great selection, and the vibes are just immaculate, so I'm so excited to be plant shopping here. And this video is part 2 of my series where I'm plant shopping in every single plant shop in Des Moines, which totals to 6 different plant shops. So we did 3 in the last video and we're doing 3 more today. I'll link the previous video if you haven't seen it up above and in the description, but without further ado, let's go plant shopping. I'll meet you guys inside. Looking at these teeny little begonias. This is a Rex begonia. It looks like it's $11. These might all be different types of Rex begonias. They're all super cute. There are a bunch of little hoyas over here too. A Hoya australis Lisa for $13.
They're still gonna get sun throughout most of the day. Yeah.
Little Hoya compacta. For $13 as well. Oh, these are so cute. Oh my gosh, and a episcia for $6. I've looked at getting my grandma these. I think that they're kind of similar to an African violet. My grandma loves African violets. These are so pretty. There's a dracaena Florida Beauty for $6. And then next to it, a Swedish ivy for $7. Here's a goldfish plant. This is $25. Right here's an aglaonema cutlass for $38. Over here is a stromanthe triostar. It's $40. And then this is a geoginanthis cilatus or something, and it's $23. By the way, please ignore how bad my nails look. I've been doing a lot of projects lately. This is a ctenanthe lubbersiana for $35. And right here is a red maranta for $35, next to the silver band maranta, which is one of my absolute favorites. And it's also $35. I can't believe how much cheaper these are now. And then down below, it looks like there's a really, really lush rattlesnake calathea for $39. And it's next to just like a regular green maranta, which is $35. Looking lush. Up here looks like a fern. It's got a lot of roots coming out right there at the bottom. It's a kangaroo paw fern for $26. And then here is I think it's a calathea roseopicta. Let's see if I'm right. Oh my gosh, I'm right, and it's $38. Oh, here's a huge calathea mosaica. It's $73, and it's like the biggest one I think I've ever seen for sale. It's huge. They have some ficus teneki that look like they've just been watered. Maybe they were being bottom watered. And both of these are $53. There are a few cebu blue pothos hanging up here. This one is $49, and oh wow, these are so long. And down here are a bunch of hoyas. This is a Hoya australis Lisa for $30, and then this one, Hoya crimson queen for $14. And behind it, I'm gonna try not to get poked by this cactus, which is actually very soft now that I'm touching it. Let's see. It's a Hoya wayettii, and it's $29 back there. These cacti, oh, it's a rat tail cactus for $25. These are so fun. I don't really feel like I've seen those around much. This one is a Hoya lacunosa for $35. There are a bunch of basket options too. Renovation Jungle just has like the cutest accessories. Renovation Jungle has some of my favorite pots ever. I particularly love this one. It looks like a basket, but it's not. And they will also always drill holes in the bottom for you free of charge, which I love. But yeah, if I was not living across the country, this would be coming with me. It's such a great place too to just look through their stuff and think like, what am I missing? And pick up whatever you're missing. Like, they have everything you could need. I really like these little faces. So cute. These earrings are super pretty too. Here is a philodendron silver stripe for $10. I like that they have these available in little pots. It's a little bit backlit, but here is a huge golden pothos. Look at that hanging down like that. And it's $53. Gorgeous. And then also a little backlit is this absolutely massive Monstera Peru. And it's $63. There's a huge Dracaena Tarzan here. This whole plant that's taller than me. It's probably like 7 or 8 feet tall. Is $250. It would be such a fun plant to like fill up an entire room. And over here is a philodendron Pariso Verde. Quite a few of them actually. Let's see if we can find the price. Oh, it looks like it's actually up here. And it's $100, probably because it is quite large. Right here is an aglaonema. It's a red aglaonema for $27. And there is a neon pothos, and it's $33. Oh, it's got some leaves with a little bit of variegation as well. That's nice. And it's right next to a super lush global green. Let's see how much this is. $43. Over here is a philodendron micans, also quite lush, and it is $37. Right here is a ring of fire philodendron, and it is $79, but it's really, really large. And then there are some smaller lemon lime marantas for only $18. 2 of them. Right here is a snake plant. It's a Sansevieria lorubia for $43. And next to it is an aglaonema. I don't know aglaonemas that well. Oh, it's a Dieffenbachia panther for $17. It is not an aglaonema, it's a Dieffenbachia. And I'm guessing this is also a Dieffenbachia. Oh, it's an aglaonema BJ Freeman for $40. Man, I really can't tell the difference between aglaonema and Dieffenbachia apparently. Ooh, I used to really want one of these ferns. They're hard to find. Or it's a rapis palm for $49. I think the one that I wanted was a little bit different, but so pretty. I like that they have these pots that actually have holes in them, although they would drain straight into the ground, but it's always good to have drainage in your plants. There's this ponytail palm for $40. There are a ton of air plants over here, and it looks like they're all priced by size. So like some of the larger ones look like they're $10. Medium ones are $6. These are some more medium ones. And then the small ones are only $3. This one's crazy looking. I don't know anything about air plants, but they also have like a bunch of cutie little air plant holders. In particular, these hands are super fun, but they have quite a lot, including like kind of a driftwood look. More of the driftwood over here, and then like these marble. That's real marble. How fun. Down here are some ficus. This looks like a ficus altissima, or no, ficus Audrey. And it's $37, and it's next to this ficus, what are these called? Just a ruby rubber tree for $18. I think this is a ficus as well, just like a weird one. Oh, it's an Aurelia, a Balfour Aurelia for $35. I should quit guessing. I don't think I'm on my plant identification game. This is a ficus bambino, fiddle leaf fig, and it's $18. It might be a regular fiddle leaf fig. I think it's actually regular. You can tell by how spaced out the leaves are, and these leaves are really small, but they're really spaced out. I'm really not sure, but I think it's regular. And then here's a ficus Audrey, which I threw mine outside because it wasn't doing well, and now it looks beautiful. And it's $33, and it is right next to these Xanthosoma lindenii that are $20, which are right next to more ruby rubber trees, and these are also $23. They have big leaves, quite large. This ruby rubber tree is $90. This is probably one of the most pink ones I've ever seen. Very, very pink. Wow. Usually I feel like they're mostly green and they only come out a little pink, but this is a super beautiful specimen of a plant. I mean, look at that. There's not any green on that leaf. Wow. Ooh, I missed these air plants. They're all flowering. They must be so happy. Oh my gosh. Wow. These are all considered larger air plants, so they're $10. Oh, look at this cutie little Monstera Thai constellation. Beautiful variegation. It is 60. And yeah, that is just a beautiful plant. And underneath it is a philodendron painted lady. Or no, philodendron orange marmalade. Like I said, I gotta quit guessing. 45. I didn't even think I was guessing. I just thought that I knew. Oh, philodendron Calkins Gold for 19. Interesting. I do feel like Renovation Jungle has a selection that's different, which I think is probably part of the reason why I just keep saying what I think things are, and then they're actually something different because they have some unique plants. I'm guessing this is that Calkins Gold. Yeah, for 39. Wow. There's some big pots down below, and I always need big pots, but I'm moving, so it doesn't make sense, but wow, these are great. Almost missed this philodendron ring of fire. It is 79. Beautiful. These are really grown on me. Up here is a pretty large watermelon peperomia. It's kind of heavy. I'm not sure what the price is. Oh, it's 38. I just had to disturb that so much to get that out. And it's right next to this philodendron wayettii, which is $43. I am jumping around the store so much, so hopefully that's not bothering you as I'm jumping around, but I try to stay out of the way, out of people's shopping, so that's my priority. Like, I don't want to take up space. I want to let people be able to shop, so I'm just running around trying to let people be able to shop. But this is a Anthurium radicans and luxurians for $55, and it's right next to a philodendron brantianum, which is $40. Ooh, below that, a philodendron squamiferum. I feel like I haven't seen one of these in a store for a minute. They have these really fun stems, and it is $45, right next to the scindapsus, which is a Scindapsus tribui moonlight for $35. Below that, I'm seeing a lemon lime heartleaf philodendron for $28. Next to this bromeliad, which is flowering, and the flower is quite pretty. Here are some begonia amphioxus for $15. These are such an interesting looking plant. And these are next to more begonia. Oh, and it's flowering. Look at that. And this is a begonia castaway for $18. And over here are some begonia dragii hybrids. You know, I'm already thinking about the fact that I need to move to Texas, settle in, and then the next time I come back, I feel like I'm gonna have to come here and like actually buy some plants because I just can't right now. I don't have space, but I want to buy so many of these. Here, I'm not sure what these are. Let's take a look. A philodendron mame silver for $49. And below, this is a philodendron silver stripe for $25. Next to a philodendron pink princess, which I got mine from here, and I feel like it's a great specimen. It's $63. But yeah, I just feel like you have to get one that has good variegation if you're gonna get one. And these are next to some white princesses that are $39.99. This is such a pretty plant. I love mine. It's definitely coming to Texas with me. And it looks like it's in here with a smaller Bruso Verde. These are really trapped in here. Yeah, for $44. And this looks like just a Burl Marx philodendron, I think. Yeah, for $17. There's a big alocasia section. This is an alocasia silver dragon for $25. And behind it is another anthurium. Anthurium radicans and luxurians cross for $35. Ooh, look at this new leaf. The veining on the back. Oh, wow. Wow. Oh, that makes me want one of these. This is the hardest time I've had at any store. I really would love to buy one of these. There's just so many plants here that I would love to buy, but I can't. And these are next to some Alocasia Jacqueline. These are 40. And here are some alocasia African mask for 14. There's a Monstera Adansonia here for 37. And this is either a Pothos Enjoy or Pearls and Jade. It's a Pearls and Jade for 30. Down here are some aglaonema, or no, Peace Lily Platinum for 14. I swear I usually do so well with guessing plants. I don't know what's going on with me. But this is a Domino Peace Lily for 15. This is a Marble Queen Pothos. And it's 19. Next to smaller Cebu Blues, which are 20. Next to some Global Green Pothos. And these are 18. Right here is a Peperomia Frost for 18. And this one is a Ripple Peperomia for 16. And it's next to a fern, a kangaroo paw fern for 18, which is next to this Fittonia, a white Fittonia for 15, super cute. These are eyelash ferns. This was on my wish list, and I got one and I killed it. Would love to try again someday, and maybe put it in like a cloche or something. And I looked at the price, but I already forgot. It looks like they're 17. These are really pretty. Oh, it's a Cissus Discolor for 30. Gorgeous. Looks like there's a big, beautiful Fittonia here for 25. I would love to have one this lush someday. They also grow super flat when they're happy. And then here's a Black Pagoda lipstick plant for 35. And it's next to this Peperomia Frost for 33, which is quite large. Behind me is this crazy fern thing. I don't know what it is. It's a rainbow moss fern. And it's 57. This huge plant, I'm not really sure what it is. Oh, and it's way down in a pot. Let's see if we can find out. Oof. It is too heavy to get out of the pot to see what it is, but it's absolutely massive. Here's a really pretty silvery begonia. It's a begonia looking glass for 26. Oh, and it's with the begonia maculata. I didn't realize those were in the same pot. So you get both for 26. That's a fun deal. There's this cutie little tray of variegated maranta. This is on my wish list. It's a Maranta Beauty Kim for 11. These are so pretty. I would want to buy a bunch of them and just have like a big pot of them. Here's a Peperomia Scandens, which is 10. And then there are some red nerve plants for 6. And this is a Creeping Pilea for 6. This one is a Peperomia obtusifolia for 6. This is a Moon Valley Pilea for 9. And then this is also a Peperomia obtusifolia, just a different kind for 6, like a plain kind. I think this one is the marble variety. Also a bunch of carnivorous plants. So there are pitcher plants here for 14. And then some other types. This is a pitcher plant Gaia for 17. This one is a carnivorous trumpet pitcher plant for 14. This one is also that trumpet pitcher plant, but like definitely looks a little bit different, like a little bit more red. And then this is a ping, and it's the first time I've ever seen one flowering. A butterwort ping for 20, and these are sticky, so they catch and eat gnats. They're so cool. Wild Fern on YouTube made what she called a pingdom, where she just had like a bunch of them together. And once I'm settled in my new house, I really want to do that. This is the prettiest Scindapsus I've ever seen. I don't know what it is, but it's so beautiful. It's a silver splash for 45. just, wow, these leaves. Like, I haven't really been that into Scindapsus, but this makes me want to be. This philodendron is quite large. It is a how do I say that? Melanoni philodendron for 76. It's always great to have a pretty green plant. Then there's this fern, which is a parlor palm for 14. Near some more black pagoda lipstick plants. These are 18. This peperomia is a peperomia russo for 15. And then over here, this is quite pretty. What is this? Peperomia parallel for 30. And this one is pretty too. Peperomia Ginny for 18. Here's a bunch of the cissus discolors from the other side. Beautiful. Down here, I think this is like a money tree. I'm not sure. What is this? Oh, it's a Schlaflera amate for 18. Interesting. Looks like there's some smaller philodendron brantianums down here. These are 23, next to some normal green heartleaf philodendron. These ones are just 15. I'm not sure what this is. It's a Tradescanthia spathacea variegata for 13. I feel like I've never seen a Tradescanthia that grows like this. I don't know, this has to be something different. Yeah, this is just your typical Tradescanthia Manuke for 25, but it's interesting to see how different they look next to each other. This is a Norfolk Island pine for 15. You can hang little Christmassy ornaments on it. This is a fern. It's a staghorn fern for 18. And it's right next to a lemon button fern for 18. It does not smell like lemons, if you were curious. And it's right next to this stromanthe sanguinea for 22, which is a really pretty stromanthe. Down here, I'm not sure, is this a Brazil? I think these might be philodendron Brazils, and they are for 18, next to some philodendron micans that are 20, and then there's a philodendron Birkin for 18. That leaf in particular, gorgeous. And there's just a regular anthurium here for 16. Very pretty. And there's this green plant, which is a philodendron moonlight for 18. But in front of it is a Monstera standiana for 25. One of my favorite plants, which is right next to this Monstera adansonii for 19. And there's also this Monstera standiana that is pretty large on just a little stake. And this one is 39. These are so pretty and so easy to grow, surprisingly. This is a Monstera siltepecana for 25. Mine is growing like an absolute weed, such an easy plant. This is a little backlit, but this is an ivy. Senecio macroglossus for 43, and it is, if I move this hoya, going up a little trellis. And there are a ton of begonia. I've wanted to get into begonia, and I thought this would be the summer that I did it, but now I'm moving. This is a begonia Sophie Celiae for 20. I feel like the lighting is really not doing these justice, which is to say really my camera isn't, because, oh, look at that. There's such a pretty plant. And it's right next to a bunch of begonia maculatas, I believe. Yep, for 30 right here. This one is really large, so I'm assuming it's more. Yeah, it looks like it's 50. Over here are a bunch of little things, like, I don't know, like a little things going on. So there's this cactus with a bunch of puffballs on it, which is so cute, and it's 28. There's also like a little carnivorous planter, and it's 50. Looks like there's like Venus flytraps. There's a ping back there. Oh, and there's little like dinosaur skeletons. That's really fun. This little succulent arrangement is 50 as well, and it's really fun. I like this turtle hanging out in it. This succulent arrangement is 45. also has a little turtle guy in there. And this left one is 40. And then the one on the right looks like it's 60. Kind of hanging out in front of it is this Kalanchoe Mother of Thousands for $6. And the teeniest little succulent right here, it's $5. Behind it is an aloe hybrid for $9. There's also this little succulent guy for $5. There are a bunch of burrow's tails for $35. Like quite a few. They're just like extremely backlit to show. This fern right here is a fluffy ruffle fern for $17. And this is a Calathea exotica for $23. And I just saw this goldfish plant and it is about to be blooming. It's like almost has like a full goldfish bloom. I love goldfish plants and it is $25. Down here, it looks like a Scindapsus silver splash for $25. I don't like the coloring on this one as much as that big one that we looked at. So it must depend on the individual plant. But this is a Scindapsus tribui moonlight for $20. And not a ton of syngoniums here today, but there is this syngonium batik for $23 and some syngonium Wendlandii for $25. Also, this Dieffenbachia back here. It's a Dieffenbachia camo for $17. There's also a whole sale section, so we have to look through here. Here's a Philodendron melanochrysum, and it's $33 on sale. Very, very pretty. Also some domino peace lilies back here, which are my favorite peace lilies for $22. Some various succulents. This one's only $1. This one is $7. This one's $3. This is a trumpet pitcher plant and it's only $4. There's some good deals. And then there's a bunch of begonias for $12. Oh, I think this is a peace lily. Ooh. Oh no, it's not. It's something else. It's an aglaonema spathothema for $23. These are really, really pretty leaves. And then there's a bunch of philodendron tortums, which are very tempting to me, for $47. The way that their leaves come out is so silly. Over here is a tropical arrangement. It's $70. There's also this one for $85. And I think it comes with like the whole stand. Maybe it doesn't. I think it might just be this. I don't know, but they're really fun. And down here is a Sansevieria cylindrica. That's how I would say that for $18. I'm not sure what this is, but it's really fun looking. It's an Aurelia bianca for $19. I don't have any Aurelias. These look like little baby clovers. And this is their mini section. So they're $4 or 3 for $10. Lots of just little itty bitty guys. Up here are some spider plant bonnies. I love that these are so curly for $5. And some little baby string of turtles. This one is $13. This right here is an aglaonema white dust for $27. And this is a Paulownia devoniana for $17. And this is a Sansevieria bird's nest for $15. And there's also some black ZZ plants, raven ZZs for $35. Quite a few string ofs. This looks like a variegated string of hearts for $14. There's also a string of spades for $12. And a little string of turtles for $13. This purple guy is really fun and funky. Woo! Losing some soil. And it is a black rose aeonium for $15. This looks like a crown of thorns, and it's $15. This is a leopard lily for $40. Trying to make it not as backlit for you guys. And then here's a ripsalis for $7. It's like a lot softer than I thought that it would be. And down here, is this a coffee plant? No, it's a Crossandra orange marmalade. I've never heard of this, but I think it is named quite well. And then there are a bunch of lithops. These are such a silly plant. They're 23. They have the string of buttons for 9. That one's struggling to focus, but you can kind of see this one a little bit better, maybe. And there is, of course, a booby cactus back there. That one is 75. This spiral cactus is super cool, and it is 85. I'm really struggling to get like a good angle of it. So pretty. This string of turtles arrangement is 45, and it's really fun. Okay guys, believe it or not, I think I did make it through all of the plants. It was a little wild. It was a very busy store. That's my bad for coming right at like 4:30 when people are getting off work. I'm gonna miss this plant shop so much. Anyway, I will see you guys at the next plant shop. We are at our next plant shop. It is Art Terrarium in Highland Park in Des Moines, Iowa, where most of these plant shops are. We are at our next plant shop, which is Art Terrarium in Highland Park. But before we run in there, I wanted to tell you what happened at Renovation Jungle. They're one of my favorite plant shops for so many reasons, and one is that their employees are so nice. And I asked about moving with plants, and they ended up giving me some stick kind of totes that their plants come in. And so I don't know, they're not really totes, but plastic containers. And so I'm going to be using those to help move at least some of my plants, which was so nice of them. And I also bought a little Hoya flower sticker. Let me know if you know what specific Hoya flowers. I guess they're just kind of a generic white, but if you know what Hoya would flower in this pattern, let me know, because now I have the sticker. But I also do love Art Terrarium. It is another great, kind of more of like boutique style plant store, I would say. And the Highland Park area is very cute. So without further ado, let's go inside. I haven't been in here in a while. I have been so good about testing my microphone every time before I film because I've had issues with it not working, and because I filmed outside, I thought I was good. I was not good. My microphone wasn't working. So you're getting voiceover Sloan. And the first thing that I noticed when I walked in were these Art Terrarium patches. I've started collecting patches recently, and I thought these were so cute. I was really excited about them. Plus they're only $1. So that was the number one thing that I was thinking about getting. I just thought it'd be a great way to commemorate living in Des Moines, to be able to take home an Art Terrarium patch. I'm going to add them to a backpack at some point. And then I noticed this Perfect Plantista houseplant insecticide spray. I noticed that it had thyme oil. That's me doing a double take right there. I've been a big fan of Perfect Plantista insecticide for a long time, and I've never seen it with thyme oil. So that was really interesting to me. But basically, this is their section where they have a bunch of 3-inch plants for $7. I'm really not sure what that plant was. A lot of these weren't labeled, but up here was a ponytail palm for $11, which personally I think is a little bit expensive for that size of ponytail palm. But I will say I never see that size of ponytail palm for sale, so could be a demand thing that if you want a small one, like that's just what they cost. And then there was a little itty bitty pitcher plant in that terrarium for just $12. And one thing that I love about Art Terrarium is that they have the big bags of Happy Frog potting soil. This is my favorite potting soil to use on my plants. I just think it has some of the best natural nutrients fertilizer for them, and they grow really well in them. There's also a tiny little green heartleaf philodendron, and then more patches. I really liked this one that it had the monstera leaf behind the AT logo, and this was the one I actually picked up. I ended up buying it. I wish it was a little smaller, and I'm collecting patches. I just have a lot that are circles, but that's okay. I'm excited to add it to my backpack whenever I get around to actually doing that. And then there were some propagation station things that were flowers plus a bunch of air plants on this little tray. I think it's so cute to use. I think it's like a dessert tray. Maybe it's a jewelry tray, but I liked how they used it for air plants there. Art Terrarium has really nice pots. I'm always eyeing these ones in particular. They have a lot of different colors every time, and I just think they look so good with the tray that is built in just perfectly like that. And I love that they have drainage holes. I really prefer to have drainage holes and separated trays on all of my plants. I just think it makes them so much easier to water, And I know that I'm never going to damage any surfaces that are underneath the plants this way. Built-in trays, I think, have issues sometimes where if I take my plant and I water it in the sink and then the bottom of the tray gets wet in the bottom of the sink, and then I have issues when I go to then set it on a wooden table versus if they were just separated. I prefer that. But I really liked this pot. I liked the crackle finish on the outside, but it didn't have a hole in the bottom. I need to get a better drill bit to be able to drill holes more easily so I can do that myself. Then there was a string of frogs for $26.50. Those are super cute, as well as a croton, I don't know. I gotta figure out how I want to say that word. I should Google it. It was $11. And then over here was a Schlaflera or umbrella tree. This one was a Schlaflera arboricola, which is kind of just the standard umbrella tree. Next to it was a standard alocasia African mask. Didn't catch the price on that one, and it was next to an alocasia Jacqueline for $29. The ironic thing about not catching the price was that while I was here, I was like, wow, I don't even need to get the price in the shot because I know my microphone's working because I tested it outside, but little did I know. Then there was an arrowhead plant that was pretty full, and I'm pretty sure this is just a syngonium, a type of syngonium, but let me know if I'm incorrect there. Then there was a coffee plant for $12, and I love this section. This is one of my favorite things about Art Terrarium is that they have used pots, and I'm kind of sad. So I picked up this pot because I liked the shape of it, but I didn't notice that just behind it, there's a really cool pot that looks like a teacup. Look at that, the polka dot one. My mom has that same pot. And had I seen it when I was there, had I registered it, I feel like I would have texted her and said, hey, if you want this pot that you bought forever and ever and ever ago, if you want a matching one, you can get one for cheap right now at Art Terrarium. But basically they have a policy where if you bring in old pots, they give you store credit to be able to go buy plants with that store credit, which I just think is the coolest system ever. Plus, as someone who likes to shop secondhand, I would rather buy a cool used pot anyway, and so I just think it's really cool, and I'm hoping I can find a plant shop that has similar values and does, you know, a similar thing in Austin, which I'm sure there'll be somewhere like that. And this was a big succulent section. Most of these said just assorted succulent, so unfortunately I can't share what they were. I'm pretty sure this one was a Haworthia, but let me know if you know exactly what this one is. They look really cool because they almost look clear. They have like clear striping almost. If you Google Haworthia, you can see some really, really interesting ones online. There's also a pencil cactus. I'm excited to get a lot of cacti in Texas. I think I can even plant some in the ground, which will be really different. And this cactus was super strange. I've never seen anything like it. Please tell me if you know what that one is. It reminds me of an old man, something about it. Then there were string of pearls right there. This was a really full one for $16.50. I think this was such a good price, and just because it was such a good specimen of string of pearls, very healthy. Next to a feather cactus that was $39.50. I once killed one of these, and I didn't even realize I killed it for so long because the feathers stayed intact. And frankly, I probably could have just kept it, and you never would have even known. And I only found out because I started squeezing it. They're very satisfying to squeeze, which is probably dangerous. It probably could have poked me, but I was squeezing it, and then it just sort of like ripped off the top of it, and I realized there was no cactus under there. It was only feathers. So I would consider getting another one, but it's just hard to tell how well they're doing because you can't see the cactus itself. That was another cactus that had like a little top of another cactus on top of it, which was super interesting, but all of these just say assorted, so it's hard to tell. Then there was this hanging basket section. It's so hard to film hanging baskets because they're so backlit, but there was a string of hearts that was extremely full and luscious up there, and this one was a bit easier for me to see. This one was $28.50, so we would know that the one above it was definitely a bit more expensive than that. There's also a pitcher plant here. I wish I knew the price on this because it was a really full one. So I feel like it could potentially be a really good choice. I think whenever I get a pitcher plant, because I wanted one forever, I'm not putting it off any longer. I'm getting one. I want to get one about that size. Then there was a rat tail cactus as well as a begonia maculata. This begonia was $44. I've also wanted one of those for a long time. It was next to just a regular anthurium for $19.50. I also want some more regular anthuriums. I want some cool flower colors. And down below was a stromanthe triostar for $28. I felt like this was a really, really healthy stromanthe triostar, and the back of the leaves just look so neon pink and beautiful. And later, up above, I'm pretty sure this was up above, was an alocasia reginae, which was one I'm not sure I've ever seen before. And over here was a calathea rufibarba, which is a velvet calathea for $36. I cannot stand how these leaves feel. It gives me the ick so much. I'm learning as I get older that I just have a lot of problems with certain textures. I really do. And that's one of them. It's next to a peperomia felted for $19.50. So they kept both of the fuzzy plants next to each other, just kind of fun. It's also decorated for Halloween. I remember seeing that cat in previous years when our terrarium has decorated for Halloween in the past. So it's fun to see it come back. And then there was a hoya compacta as well as a maidenhair fern for $16.50. I saw maidenhair ferns growing in the walls on my honeymoon in Positano, Italy, just out in the wild, which was so cool to see. I wish they grew that well in my house. I've never tried, but so I guess I don't know, but I've heard they are difficult to grow. Then there was a goldfish plant with a watermelon peperomia behind it. And I was looking at these potting mats because I would really love to have some kind of potting mat solution, but these looked really small, and I think I just want something a bit bigger. I've used plastic totes before, and they work pretty well, but I think I want like a real potting mat situation, so maybe at some point I'll do that. There was a Pilea peperomioides as well as a lemon lime maranta for $26. This is a really big lemon lime maranta. It looked really good. And then another goldfish plant. This one was $18.50. And this is the same variety of goldfish plant that I have in my house. I have a huge one, but it hasn't bloomed for me in a number of times. If you watch my plant shopping videos a lot, you've heard me be like, my goldfish plant never blooms. So I'm sorry you have to hear that a lot. I'm hoping I can get it to bloom in Texas. And then there was a Fittonia for $10, and there was this big cart. It was really hard for me to see all of the plants on the top of it. I'm pretty short, so this is the best I could do. There was a philodendron Brazil for $24.50, and then two different rickrack cactus that just look crazy and fun. Such a good hanging plant if you like hanging plants. Below was a Monstera Peru for $30. Don't mind me knocking over the rattlesnake calathea in the back, but this rattlesnake calathea was $19.50. I think I would go for a bigger one personally if I were to buy another rattlesnake calathea. I think you could find a bigger one for not that much more. And then there was a ring of fire philodendron for $29.50. And down below was a pink princess for $39.50 with pretty decent variegation, especially in the newer leaf. But I love it when they have a ton of pink on them. And there's also a marble queen pothos. I didn't catch the price on it, but it was very full. And a neon pothos. All of the pothos at our terrarium were so full and luscious, which I think is the ideal state to buy a pothos in. And over here, you can see me getting excited about, I just hit the microphone, I'm still excited about these Epipremnum pinnatum albos. These looked so good. I was previously growing mine up a moss pole, but at my new house, I want mine to grow exactly like this in a big basket. I love this plant so much though. I might also have another cutting growing up a moss pole, but these are still fenestrating, even though they're just growing in a hanging basket. So cool. I am so excited to grow mine out. And this marble queen pothos was huge for $38.50. And it was next to a black pagoda lipstick plant that was also pretty full. Didn't quite catch the price on that one. Again, I'm so sorry. My microphone worked at the next plant shop, I promise. And then it was next to a neon pothos that was also $38.50. And our terrarium is known for having these pots. I'm not sure if they're handmade. I don't think they are. I don't know. They all look the same, so I'm pretty sure they're not handmade, but they're very, very popular if you like that kind of thing. And they had some philodendron Birkin styled in them. And then this was their clearance section. So I think we'll see how much the percentage was off on these. I don't remember, but I didn't give any prices here because they were all on sale anyway, but up top was a burro's tail, and then there was this fern down below, a bird's nest fern, and I was really intrigued by the texture of it. It felt like kale. That's the easiest way I can explain the texture. It was such a weird, like very thick leaf. And up top there was a crocodile fern, which I can see why it gets its name. It definitely looks kind of like a crocodile scale to me. There's also a philodendron ring of fire. This, I thought maybe it came with the pot. It looked for a second like it was potted in the pot, but it actually wasn't. I think it was just styled in the pot. I don't think the pot was on clearance, but I could be wrong. And this was the only variegated Epipremnum amplyssimum that I saw in the entire store. So if you like that plant, I think this was probably a great deal. I don't know what the price was, but I've seen those for a lot of money, and this one was on clearance. I doubt it was really expensive. And behind it was a variegated Burl Marx philodendron, a pretty good starter version. It had just a few leaves, and then a really small Epipremnum pinnatum albo. I don't know, it says $28.50, but it's 40% off. That's a lot. That's a big sale. If you like to shop sale plants, I would run to Terrarium because it actually hasn't been that long since I filmed this video for once, from when I filmed it to when it's coming out. So maybe some of these plants are still there. There was also a Macaulay's fennel, and then up above they had some various things that were clearance that weren't plants and a Sansevieria cindrilica. And over here, I loved that pink moisture meter. And I love plant shops that have lots of little things. I love to look at the little things. I thought that these mini moss poles that you could buy with or without moss was really fun. Personally, I don't like these. I think they dry out far too quickly. They're just not functional because they dry out so quickly. But I like that it's an option if you're someone that does like a small moss pole. And they also had houseplant tap water conditioner, which I've never seen before. And we're back to this insecticidal spray. I was just so intrigued by the thyme oil, and I flipped it around to read the back, and I realized that they don't have neem oil anymore. That's the difference. So it's thyme oil, cinnamon bark oil, and peppermint oil. And it already smelled so good before. Like the cinnamon bark and the peppermint really covered up the neem oil spray. I'm sure I should have sprayed it. I should have sprayed it and taken a sniff. I'm sure now it smells just like delectable. I'm sure it smells so good. And I had no idea that thyme oil could be used to repel insects. But I will say I can't speak for how well this product does since I haven't tried the new thyme oil version. But if you do want to try it out, I have a link with them down below where you can get some money off. So feel free to check it out. But again, I cannot vouch for the version without neem oil. Would love to try it. Very intrigued. This was a systemic that was liquid, which was also super weird. I have started using a systemic in my houseplants that's like systemic granules to kill the larva of fungus gnats. And I was very intrigued by the fact that this one is a liquid, and I don't know if it works as well. I don't know anything about it, but I've never seen that before. So let me know if you've tried that and if you like it. And in the back of our terrarium is known for having a event space in the back, which is obviously very fun. And so we're kind of sneaking into that event space. And one of the big things they have back here is, first off, a wall of dogs, which is very cute. I'm guessing they take a picture of every dog that comes in with a Polaroid, but they also have kind of like a little terrarium set up where you can build your own terrariums. And this is one of the little packets. I think that was like a thing to build your own terrarium. Actually, I didn't read it, so I'm not sure. But yeah, I just think it's really fun to have something like that. And this was more of the event space. So it looks like they were set up to build these little like moss tray decoration things, which was fun. And back over with the plants, first plant I looked at over here was a Dracaena Janet Craig, which if you did not know is the 2024 plant of the year. And it was next to a whalefin Sansevieria, which was $27, next to a philodendron pink princess. And I liked the variegation on this one better than the one we saw a little bit earlier at Art Terrarium. But again, it's like the newest leaves look the best. And when I'm buying a plant, I prefer all of the leaves to have just like stellar variegation. Ideally, I bought a lot of plants that don't have that, but ideally. Then there was a ZZ plant, and below was a Scindapsus silver satin. I still think the one that I saw at Renovation Jungle, that Scindapsus, was the prettiest Scindapsus that I've ever seen in my entire life. Editing this, I was just looking at it and gazing. It was so pretty. There's also a philodendron Birkin. Did not catch the price on that one, but those used to be so sought after. They're still a really pretty plant. And there was another scindapsus over here. This one I think was also a silver satin. Yes, it is. And it looked a little bit different than the other one. I think I like the one on the left a little bit better. I don't know what causes them to have, like the one on the left has a lot more of the silvery freckles. I don't know what causes that. I don't know if that's a light thing, if it's a watering thing. Let me know if you know. And there's a Scindapsus exotica over here for $32.50. The exotica definitely naturally comes with a lot more silver on it. It just is how the plant is. But the silver satin, I'm really not sure what causes some specimens to have more than others. You know what? It's probably the same as any variegation on any plant. You probably can't really control it that much, but I don't know, maybe it's something else. And over here was my favorite plant, the Philodendron gloriosum for $17. This is just, it's so worth it. It's such an easy plant. It's so stunning. They size up so quickly. Yes, it's a crawler and it's going to take up some space in your house, but it is worth it. I love the Philodendron gloriosum. And it was next to a Philodendron brantianum, which is a very difficult philodendron in my opinion. They always look great at the store. Very difficult to care for once you take them home. Very difficult to keep full. And this was a Philodendron White Princess for $32.50, but it was labeled Philodendron White Knight, but I'm so sure that it's a White Princess, and it was next to another White Princess, which was $28.50, and you can just see how similar they look. The difference is the coloring of the stems, and both of those were White Princesses for sure, so it was just mislabeled a little bit. And down here was a Philodendron Micans for $25, and next I found a Monstera adansonii. And this one was interesting because it was doing what Adansonii like to do, which is when they grow new leaves that grow through the holes of a previous more mature leaf. And if you don't catch this early, there's really not a good fix other than ripping the leaf open. That happened with my big Monstera adansonii all the time, which is very annoying. And there's also a Philodendron silver stripe, and I realized I don't have one of those in my collection, which is crazy because I love that type of philodendron, so I think I need to pick one up. And this Pearls and Jade pothos was the best example I've ever seen of the difference between a Pearls and Jade pothos versus an Enjoy. You can see how many little freckles are on this. An Enjoy would not have all of those little freckles. It would just be more of a pure white. And this was so pretty. And I only have an Enjoy. I don't have a Pearls and Jade. And you can't have too many pothos, really. They're just such easy plants. They grow in low light. They don't need a lot of water. So I would have loved to have taken that Pearls and Jade home. And this was kind of their small Hoya section. This was a Hoya Great White for $22.50 and a Hoya Macrophylla albo for $24. I've never heard of the Great White ever before. Let me know if you have a Great White, if you've heard of them. I don't know, maybe it has a different name that I would recognize. And then it was next to a spider plant that was not variegated, which I feel like those are kind of hard to find. I don't really feel like I ever see spider plants without the variegation. There's also a sensitive plant that was not feeling so sensitive today. So I put my hands all over this plant, which I wouldn't recommend. Probably wasn't the nicest thing to do to this plant. Like, it was clearly overstimulated, and I kept stimulating it. But you can see at least a few of these started moving. They stop moving if they've been touched too much. So that's what I mean, that it's been touched too much. Give it a rest. But no, I wanted to show you guys. I really did. They're so cool. I think I would love to have one in a collection at some point just to be able to touch it all the time. And down here was a Calathea Beauty Star. And up above was a Peperomia Rosso. I'm not a big Peperomia fan, but if you are, there's one right there. And there was a Calathea Mosaica for $43. I really haven't been into those Calathea. I don't really see the appeal, but I used to think they were really cool. So it's funny how your tastes change sometimes. There's another crocodile fern for $15, and then an autumn fern for $15.50, which those remind me a lot of a Boston fern, which is kind of interesting. I feel like you don't really see Boston ferns in that small of a pot, so an autumn fern could be almost like a dupe if you really like a Boston fern. And then over here was a spider plant, but this one was variegated for $17.50. Next were some of the most beautiful calathea white fusions I have ever seen. These were stunning. And I actually bought a calathea white fusion from Art Terrarium years ago, and it totally croaked on me. It's such a hard plant. Mine got covered in spider mites. They're just spider mite magnets. They're just difficult. So over here was a philodendron summer glory, and these are supposed to not be crawlers, but this one kind of looked like it was trying to crawl across the pot, which would be the parent of it. One of them is a philodendron gloriosum, which is a crawler, but the summer glory is supposed to be a mounding philodendron. So anyway, I just thought that was interesting that one kind of looked like it was crawling. And then there was another philodendron gloriosum, and below a philodendron golden violin, which have a very pretty yellow color, but kind of controversial. Some people don't like yellow leaves because they kind of look like a dead leaf, which I kind of understand to an extent. And this was their ficus section. So there's a ficus tenecki, and next to it was just a regular ficus elastica for $19.50. All of these are technically ficus elasticas, but for some reason, just the dark one kind of gets referred to as a ficus elastica. Technically, the ficus tenekkis are a ficus elastica tenecki, and the ruby ficus is also a ficus elastica ruby. If you didn't know that, I guess now you do. And up here was a Mickey Mouse alocasia for $42.50. This was a fun find because literally every time I feel like I see these in stores, they have spider mites, and this one didn't. But they must be spider mite magnets because stores don't want spider mites on their plants when they're selling them, but that one always has them. So I don't know. Be careful if you want to buy one. Then there was a Rex begonia next to an alocasia silver dragon, and those were all of the plants at Art Terrarium. Hi, it's the next day, and we are about to head to Goode Greenhouses, which is the last plant shop that we're visiting in this series. That's their jingle, so that's what I always think whenever I think about Goode Greenhouses. It's hard to say it without the jingle. They're definitely more of a true greenhouse, but they often have plant sales, and they're just kind of fun to go visit. I don't know why I love Goode Greenhouses so much, but I really do like going. And they have a great pot selection, which is, generally what I'm buying when I go there. And it is the last place that we are visiting in this series. Let's go do some plant shopping. Thank goodness that I filmed this intro at home and then decided to put directions in my phone, even though I know how to get there. But I was curious what the optimal route would be, and it turns out that Sunday is the one day a week that they close at 4 and not 5, and it is 3:48 p.m. So we will not be going to Goode Greenhouses today, but let's jump ahead to another time this week when I make it out there. And we made it. I was the only car in the parking lot, so for a second there, I was a little nervous that they were closed, but I'm just the only one here, so that's kind of fun. And I wanted to start in the back for once. I always start in the front, but I don't know, I wanted to switch it up. They have some orchids over here. I don't know why these aren't with the other orchids. Maybe they're on sale? Nope, they're all $40. A bunch of snake plants. These are $47.29 for kind of the standard Sansevieria. This one's a Zelanica for $21. And I guess I should say the name of this one is the Laurentii. And the smaller one is only $21. This sign is kind of cracking me up. I have to say I agree, especially when it's from a small business like this. Yeah. Also, cactus barrel for $115. I don't know anything about cacti. That seems really expensive to me, but I also feel like I never see them that large here. Over here, there are a bunch of smaller Sansevieria. These are $14.39, at least this one is, and it just says assorted Sansevieria. I'll show you some of the succulents. This one's a grafted cactus, which is where they put the cacti on top, and it's $11.29. And what's really cool is that at big box stores, a lot of times they have like the, something on top, but it's actually just a piece of plastic. But this is live. This pink cactus on top, that is not plastic. That is a live cactus. So that's pretty interesting. And yeah, they just have many succulents. This is kind of a weird order to go in. I don't know about starting back here, but I also wanted to show you some of their pottery because it's 30% off. They're doing their kind of end of season 30% off sale. So this is one of the best places to come get pottery every year, just because, especially bigger pots like these. This is pretty big. It's $48, but then it's 30% off. And it's especially great if you're getting a huge pot like this. I want to guess it's 35%, not even 30. They also have some bonsai pots, and bonsai pots I think are kind of hard to find, especially these sizes are huge. I don't feel like they usually have such large ones, so that's a pretty awesome find. I like this one too, and they have the trays next to it. I'm keeping my eye out for orchid pots, but I don't see any. I love this tropical planter. It's 22. No drainage hole though. I like drainage holes. Yeah, I don't think I see any orchid pots, so sad. This one's kind of cool. It looks like it's wood, but it's actually ceramic. Okay, back to the plants. Here are a bunch of aloe. This is only, I think, $8 for a smaller one. This one's $29.29 for a larger one. Raven ZZ plant for $38, and then a regular ZZ plant for $30. I definitely didn't want to miss these pitcher plants. These are $63 up there. And they also have really large ZZ plants back here. They're $63. A lot of cacti over here, and I'm especially curious about this plant because it's flowering. Let's see what it is. Desert rose for $27. Look at how beautiful. Wow. And there's another one flowering over here. This flower looks maybe just a little different. It's more cream. And then it looks like they have a red one that's about to flower, and then maybe a yellow one back there. So this is the time to be buying these because you would know what color you're getting. On the other side is a Dracaena marginata for $17. Some crotons for $21.89. That's kind of a random price. This is a passion fruit plant for $23. That is super interesting. This looks like some kind of peace lily. Yeah, all right. It's a spathiphyllum sweet chico for $20.29. Over here, this is an Abobalis acutissima for $24. I never heard of that. Huh. The light shining in is quite bright on them, so it's not really doing the coloring justice, but they're very interesting. Some ponytail palms for $35.89 over here. These are very cute. I love a ponytail palm. And then they have ring of fire philodendrons for $41.29, and they are huge for this price. Oh my goodness, look at that. It does look like some of them have what I would call it fungal leaf spot. I'm pretty sure that's what these spots are. I had it on a philodendron Birkin once, so something to keep in mind. It's not surprising that they would get that in a greenhouse considering the hot and humid conditions, and I think you just treat it with copper fungicide. The old leaves will stay like this, but you'd want to do something to treat your plants so the new leaves don't come out that way as well. This is some kind of philodendron, and I quite like the color of that newest leaf actually. It's a philodendron Macaulay's Finale for $25. I don't know that I've ever truly appreciated that plant, but they have quite a few of them, and that red fresh leaf color is stunning. And back behind them they have Xanthosoma lindenii or Caladium lindenii, just depending on what you feel like calling them. I don't really know. I've heard them called both, and these are only $19, and they're big plants. These are cast iron plants for $66, which I did not know this word, the aspidistra, is I guess what they are. I know that when I visited Dallas, they just had these growing in the ground outside, so that is a super cool difference between Texas and Iowa. They also have some calathea mosaicas. Let's see the price on these babies. They're $33. Lots of ferns over here. This one, what are you? Blue star fern for $9.29. Also an autumn fern for $9.49. I think this is a button fern. Yeah, fern lemon button for $18.49. There are also some ficus rubies over here. These are only 17, and these are the largest Calathea orbifolias I've ever seen, and they're 27. I feel like I can't do the size of these justice. That is huge. They also have some bird of paradise plants for $40. This one is putting out a beautiful, beautiful new leaf. Over here is a Scindapsus silver satin, actually quite a few of them. And right next to it is an alocasia, also again, a few of them. I don't know why I'm saying things in the singular, but this is an alocasia red secret for $29.29. I also don't think I mentioned the price of these. They are $22. They have a cebu blue pothos for $30, and I'm only seeing one Monstera deliciosa. It's $19, and it's growing almost like a crawling philodendron would, which is kind of interesting. And it looks like the new leaf definitely has some fenestration, so oh no, oh no, oh. I was gonna show you what the old leaf looks like, but it's looking pretty good. You can just see it from the underside there. Over here, I'm just gonna kind of lean over. There is a philodendron painted lady, and it's $75, and I'm not sure what this plant is. I think it's a homalomena, and it's $22.50. There's a variegated ginger plant up here, and it's $23.19. And then just in front of it is an ivy grape for $24. Here is another calathea. It's $27. I feel like maybe this is a burl marks, I'm not sure. They have some jade pothos. These are $10.39. And right next to them, does it say it's a pomegranate? Yeah, I think this is a pomegranate, and it's 14. And this one behind it says it's a mulberry. That's cool. It's also 14. Next to some lemon lime marantas. These are just $10. And then it looks like there's some regular green marantas for $11, and some tradescantias. These are tradescantia zebra whites, and they're $8. I'm loving how empty it is right now. This is nice. This is a strawberry begonia, the strawberry saxifrage begonia, for $9. And then back here, oh my gosh, yeah, this is a goldfish plant for $30, and it is absolutely a different variety of goldfish plant than what I have. So I don't know, when I get to Texas, maybe I'll want to collect all of the different varieties of goldfish plants. Over here, it just says assorted alocasia. It's $13.79, and I'll just show you all of the alocasia that I'm seeing. This one, very pretty. It's probably a black velvet or a ninja. This is surely a tiny dancer, I would think. Same price, just says assorted. And on this side are some different, I think these are ivies, yeah. Algerian ivy variegated for $11.39. Very pretty. Ooh, this is a lucky bean plant. So lucky bean castanospermum for $17. The bean, very interesting looking. Oh my gosh. A plant just touched me and it made me itchy. I don't know, the way, something about the way it touched me. But this is what the leaves look like. Ooh, 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 ooh. I've never seen such large specimens. Oh my gosh, I wish I could take one of these home with me right now. This is a snow bush for $9.49. I feel like I usually only see these in 2-inch planters, and I really want one. I think they're so beautiful, but I killed mine so quickly. They just feel like a plant that would be so difficult to grow indoors, and in my experience, they are. But I would love, so love to try again, but I can't be buying more plants right now. There are also some rattlesnake calatheas. This one's $9, and some pink syngoniums. This is a syngonium pink neon for $11.49. This dracaena looks really cool, how it's so twisted. It just says it's $12.49. It doesn't say what it is. Let me know if you know the name of this one. And I'm guessing this is a coffee plant, but it doesn't say for sure. It's $9. Really don't know what this is. And I will never know because it doesn't say, but it's $9. They have a bunch of Fittonia for $9.65, and they look very healthy. Let's see what this is. It's a smaller goldfish plant for just $10, and I don't see any blooming, or I would be taking a look. Because I wonder if the blooms on this look different than the blooms on the variety that I have. I don't know. This is a peperomia happy bean for $8. Cute. They do really look like beans. And there are some regular anthurium over here. This is $30. Oh, their newest leaves are just so pretty. I don't know what these are. Roeo Amber Waves for $6.85. And they have a bunch of 2-inch plants here. This asparagus fern, so soft, so cute. And it looks like they are $4.69. Up here is a hanging basket with some discidia in it for $34. Not sure what kind of discidia. And then this looks like a peperomia. Is this? No, this is also a discidia. It's like a watermelon discidia. I feel like it has the name watermelon in it. Then there are a bunch of plants that you could grow into bonsai. So we'll see if this has the variety. Oh yeah, this is a juniper for $13.49. And these already have some interesting shapes for pruning. This one is a golden ficus bonsai, and it's $55. It's already in the pot. Ooh, and back here is a ficus triangularis, and it is fruiting. Do you see all those dots, all the little balls? It's $27.79. That is actually a really good deal, I think. That looks like a pretty happy fruiting plant. Those would be figs, I believe. I'm pretty sure ficus are also fig trees. Oh my gosh, and there's so many behind me. These are huge. These are huge for the price. These are $32.29, and they're already little trees. Oh my gosh, these would grow so well in Texas. I'm gonna have to look for them once I'm there. And they're so beautiful. They also have coconuts for sale, coconut palms, which I've seen these here before. Super interesting. And actually, it looks like they're 27. They just have them on the pots that are next to them. What an interesting plant to grow in your house. I think that these are Monstera dubias, and if so, they are the largest Monstera dubias I've ever seen for sale. Look at how big these leaves are. And yeah, sure enough, that is what they are. They're $68.29. Wow. They have so many of them. Then they have some cacti. It looks like a couple fell over. These are Cactus Apuntia prickly pears for $30. And they have some Ficus elastica shiverianas for $46.49. The newest leaves are looking really pretty. And this is their orchid section. They have absolutely gorgeous orchids here. Look at these flowers. This one is $40, and it looks like they're all Phalaenopsis orchids, which is the name for this shape of flower that's like a pretty standard kind of orchid, I would say. But let's just take a look at all of these colors. This one is really interesting that it's all white. Like every last bit of it is completely white. I also love the pale yellow, stunning. This one is really catching my eye as well. It's also only $40, and I say only because the grocery stores around here sell orchids for so much more. I think that's a great price for such a unique orchid. This one is also beautiful. It's striped. I don't even know that the camera is doing it justice. It's $40 as well. Here's another one. And this one has some little buds coming out. I don't want to disturb it too much, but just look at this section. Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. Next to it is a Pleomeli Song of India for $19. And then some Monstera Perus, I think? Yes, for $48.79. As well as some Cebu blue pothos on a totem pole for $48.79. And finally, a jade plant. Oh, that one seems at risk of falling over, so let's look at this one instead. That one also seems at risk of falling over. Oh gosh, okay. And I don't see prices, but I'm almost completely sure that they're jade plants. They also keep their orchid pots by the orchids, which makes a lot of sense. And yeah, I'm just not in love with most of these. I don't know what it is. Maybe like this green one's not so bad, but most orchid pots I'm just not super enthused by. I don't know, maybe I'll have to look online. So that is Goode Greenhouses houseplant selection.